If you're new here, I want to welcome you to the collective, and if you're returning, I'm so excited to see you, and let's go ahead and dive in. Because right now, I'm feeling that you feel very disheartened. You feel exhausted and tired because you have been doing the emotional work. You've been doing the healing. You've been doing the shadow work. And, no one's recognizing it because it's not something that can be seen externally. It's all internal work. It's exhausting, and you just want to know when something is going to, I want to say that when something's going to produce, but that's not the right answer. You just feel like something has to give, that right now it's one of those things where it's like, why am I doing this if nothing's going to change? So let's figure out why we feel like nothing's changed. And you're going to be like, Kirsten, it's because I look around and everything's exactly the same. Trust me, been there, done that. I have, done so much internal work only to find myself feeling like I was stuck in the same spot. But when I looked around and I saw what was around me, I realized that, things really had changed. It was subtle. It wasn't obvious. So before we even find out what the actual problem is, just kind of look around you, pause the video if you need to, and be like, okay, what physical changes in my physical environment can I see that are different from a month ago? All right, now let's figure out what's causing the problem right now. Counseling. Every time I see this card, it just feels so overwhelming to me. Look at all those papers just flying off the page, off the book. It's ridiculous. And every time I see this, I just feel like we're receiving too much. We're receiving too much advice from everybody else, and we're holding ourselves too much to everybody else's standards, and we're not listening enough to our own voice, our own intuition, our own spirit to let us know, hey, you're doing good. You can take a break. You don't have to keep doing this marathon. You're allowed to relax for a little bit. That's literally how I feel every time I see that card. Inner strength. This is a beautiful card. I love just the imagery of the tree being dark and the light behind it and the roots being light and they're underneath. So yes, understand that this is exactly what you're doing. You are building and creating and making those roots deeper. You're giving yourself strength and stamina that you never used to have. And I hate saying this because I literally, if someone would have said these exact words to me 3 months ago, I would have gotten mad. So understand that what I'm about to say is probably going to be triggering. But you are doing the hard work, and the hard work is going to pay off. It's just right now you're in that in-between phase, and that in-between phase sucks. No one likes the in-between phase. But it is what it is. It's a part of the process. And I'm not going to tell you to fall in love with the in-between phase because, boo, ew, gross, no. What I am going to tell you is that this in-between phase is unfortunately necessary because this is where the integration happens, and the integration is the hardest part. If you've been with me for a minute, you know I hate the part of integration because it's where everything fails. None of us like to feel like a failure. None of us like to feel like we're failing, but failing means that we're doing something. Failing means that we're attempting something. So every time you're failing, you're doing something. So it's not that you're doing it wrong. It's just that you need to learn how to adjust and pivot in the moment and see how things can get better. So yes, right now, this card, let it be a very good visual for what is happening inside of you. Needy. This card, it's one of those things where I look at okay, so in my brain, she's making soup. And all I see are onions. And this woman, instead of reaching out to other people and saying, hey, does anyone have some protein or other veggies I can put in here that can help create sustenance? She just says, no, if I do that, I'm being needy. You're not being needy by asking to have your needs met. You're doing what you need to survive, to get through. I get that. But you also need to be honest about the things that you do need. This card's not calling you out and saying you are needy. This card is saying you feel like you're being needy, asking for the basics. And no one should just be eating just onion soup, unless you're doing French onion soup, but then that still has a chunk of cheese in it, and that still has a chunk of bread. Yeah, you need to have more than onions. You need protein, you need fiber, you need other veggies than onions. I'm not even sure if onions are a vegetable on our food pyramid chart. I don't know how much, sustenance or minerals or vitamins they give you, but I do know that there's other vegetables that give you better stuff. So understand that right now, and this isn't just about like your basic needs, like yes, that is 100% part of it. But if you need someone to talk to, if you need someone to confide in, if you need somebody to just listen to you so you can verbally have just a confirmation or understanding, you're not being needy. You're just being a person. You're being human. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then we got balance. So remember how with counseling, I talked about like if you feel like you're running a marathon and right now you need to relax. That's what this balance is about. You need to give yourself a chance to understand that yes, working hard on yourself is good, but you also need to find peace. You need to rest. When you're trying to build muscle and you're trying to get yourself to a next phase of something, you're not just going at it 24/7. You take times to rest and recuperate. When I was in high school, even at the prime of my youth, I would still have to do things that would cause me to rest. Like I would have to do ice buckets for my legs because I was pushing myself too hard. Was that healthy? Not really, but I still had to do forced things to balance out the amount of hard work I was putting into something. And I had to go to the other extreme to balance it out. Now, yeah, that's an extreme example, but like my point getting at here is in anything that you do, there has to be a rest. There has to be a recuperation. So if you've been working and pounding yourself so much in your healing journey and your mental health journey, and you're just tired and you're exhausted, then take a break. It's okay. Just, if you don't feel like journaling today, don't journal. If you just want to sit out in the sun and just bask in the sun, do that. If you just want to have a week where you indulge, allow yourself that. Give yourself that break. Now we're going to go to the tarot cards because I want to know what is pushing us and keeping us in this place where we think that we have to keep pushing, where we have to just keep, ourselves moving over and over and over again. And the disheartening isn't that, okay, this one was also one. The disheartening isn't even necessarily that, your efforts aren't being recognized or that, things aren't changing. This disheartening is just that you are literally burning yourself out by trying to do the thing that's going to help you. So the first card that flew out, and this explains everything so well on why you feel like you have to keep pushing yourself, is the Seven of Wands in its reverse position. In its upright position, you're defending yourself, you're sticking up for yourself, and you have 6 other wands coming at you. In its reverse position, they're backing away and they 100% hear you. They see that you're doing the thing. They understand that you're doing the work. You don't need to keep being so defensive. You don't need to keep trying to prove yourself to others. And I get it. You want people who you love and care about to have the best version of yourself. But at the same time, you need to also be the best version of yourself to yourself. So allow yourself to just, again, relax and understand that, yes, people are seeing the difference. People are understanding it. They're feeling it. And again, it's one of those things where when you're doing the mental work, when you're doing the healing, it's not so obvious on the outside specifically to you. But this card right here tells us that people are seeing it and that, the only one that's really pushing yourself right now is you. The Devil. So we're trying to get out of that comfort zone. I get it, 100%. But you know what? So let me just tell you the story about myself real quick. When I was in high school, I was a cross-country runner. And when I didn't make my times or I didn't make, the goals I want to make, I kept pushing myself further and further and further till I would break. That's how I got 3 stress fractures in my high school career, 1 in each shin and 1 in my spine. So the devil in this sense for me was the fact that I kept trying to push myself further and further when I wouldn't allow myself to just relax. Now remember that I always call the devil the comfort zone. Well, here's what my comfort zone was. My comfort zone was me literally beating myself up in a very physical way because I couldn't do what it is I wanted to do. I was using running, which is typically considered a healthy thing, to literally beat myself up because, you know what? If I couldn't do it, I was going to force myself to do it one way or the other. So here, I feel like your comfort zone right now is you constantly being in the work position and you not relaxing. Yeah. Your comfort zone is keeping yourself in a burnt out state of healing and refusing to allow yourself to relax. So right now, why don't we just look around you, see what's different, see how much you have accomplished, and allow yourself the chance just to relax and integrate what you've done. Then we got the Judgment in reverse position. Once again, we know that you are working on yourself. We know that you're healing yourself. We know that you're not there yet exactly to who you want to be, but that's okay. It's okay. Because the thing about Judgment in reverse position, when it's reversed, it means you're getting there. It means that it's one of those things where you planted the seeds, you've weeded the garden, you've watered the garden, but you can't rush the growth. Things have to happen in their own time. I don't care how impatient you are for your flowers to grow. They're gonna grow at their own speed. So allow yourself to realize that you are doing the work. And then we have the Six of Cups in its reverse position. This one feels like the most dangerous card of all the ones I've just pulled. Because the Six of Cups is that nostalgic card. And when it's in its reverse position, it is a trap. And it's telling me that you are trying to outrun your past self. You are trying to outdo your past self. That you are so ashamed and so unhappy with who you've been in the past that the only way to forgive yourself is for everybody to see you for who you are now. And that is 100% a lie. You need to forgive yourself first and foremost. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or knows about you. Yeah, we want people to like us. We want people to understand us. We want people to see us. But you need to forgive yourself first. You need to forgive yourself for the decisions that you've made in your past. Were they great? Probably not. Were they the best things that you could have done? No. But were they the best that you did at the time with what you had? Unfortunately, yeah, it just was really shitty. And that's okay. Because you know better now and you're going to do better now. So this Six of Cups shows me in its reverse position right up like the front that you are just holding yourself to such a high bar and standard of change that it's like you're trying to lose like 50 pounds in 2 weeks. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. You need to make it a realistic standard. Losing 10 pounds in a month is actually pretty realistic. Even 20 pounds in a month is pushing it a bit if you're doing it in a healthy and natural way. So give yourself the ability to realize that, yeah, your past is your past, and it's 100% always going to be a part of who you are, but it doesn't have to be the person you are anymore. You are a different person. So start being a different person by forgiving yourself and living as you are now, and remembering that you need to balance the healing with the relaxation, with the play. And that by asking for the things that you do need, you're not being needy, you're just asking for the things that you need. Allow yourself to know that you have that strength and shut out some of this just extra unneeded verbiage and voices and just static. Now I'm going to ask the cards to help us see, to help you see who you are for who you truly are. Because you are looking in the mirror and you're still just thinking of yourself as that past version of yourself. So I feel like right now we need the cards to give us a little bit of insight on, who is it that we really are right now? And how can we see it? What actions can we do? What can we realize? What can help us see the true person on the other side of the mirror who has been doing the work, who has been just digging those roots and going farther into their healing journey? How can we see that person and feel that what we're doing is amounting to more than just exhaustion and burnout? Just one more card. Oh, okay, it's this one. All right. Open your mind. All right. So this feels like it's gonna be like a meditation thing. Because when I feel the open your mind, it's not asking you to be open-minded so much as it is to allow your mind to just expand on its own. And with stillness, with you needing to rest and relax, meditation is the best way to do it. Allow yourself to meditate, because part of what this counseling might be, all those voices, all that chatter, all those opinions of other people about who you should be, where you should be, I feel like they just need to be silenced. And I feel like you need to open your mind to spirit, open your mind to the divine, open your mind to the universe, and just let yourself just expand in stillness and expand in peace. Knowledge. Look at all these books. Knowledge is one of those things where sometimes it's important to just remember the basics. And that's why I pointed out all the books. I'm not saying you need a new self-help book. You don't. What I'm saying is the basics are sometimes the best thing that you can do. The basics are sometimes the best thing that you can do to just remind yourself, oh, look at what I, struggled to do with in the beginning, and what can I do now? So go back to the basics. If you probably have self-help books, let's be real here. Go back to one that, you started in the beginning, and read some of the exercises and see how much differently you answer, or how differently you respond. Go back to even the beginning of your journey. If you kept a journal, or if you just remember who and how you felt 6 months from now, go back and just kind of collect your own personal data to see how far you've gone, to see how far you've changed. And whether it's just you saying out loud to yourself that, you know what, I'm a good person and I deserve better, and 6 months ago you couldn't say that to yourself. That's enough. That is also huge. To go from I'm a person who deserves whatever I received, then to go to a person that says I'm a good person and I deserve better, that is a huge shift in transformation. So the knowledge isn't that you need to seek more knowledge. The knowledge is more that you just need to kind of collect your own knowledge. You need to collect your own data. You need to find a way to record and just look at the differences in your own life. If you've kept a journal up until this point, that is an easy way to do it. Read your early journal entries and see with what you suffered with, 6 months ago to where you are now, and see how far you've come, what the journey looks like. Our last card. Stillness. I've literally been saying that this whole reading, that stillness is necessary for you. I said that with the Devil card. I said that with Open Your Mind and Balance. You need stillness. Stillness is something that is going to give you that rest, that is going to help you feel that change, that difference. Stillness is going to be part of your integration. Honestly, if you want to do something that's going to drastically change how you're going to see yourself, meditate. Be still. Don't do a guided meditation. Just sit in silence and allow yourself to be still. Because here's the thing. In the stillness, that is where you're going to hear those voices. That's where you're going to hear those thoughts. That's where you're going to know what's important to you and what's not. And if you can get a completely clear head, congratulations, because that's amazing and you should be proud of yourself. If your head is still swirling with thoughts, work through them. It's fine. It's okay. Stillness is what you need right now more than anything. You need to find the balance in stillness because you've been working so hard. You've been pushing yourself so hard. You need to catch a break. You need to catch your breath. So allow yourself to sit, even if it's just for 5 minutes in stillness, in a chair, in your car, or in your bed before you go to sleep. Find stillness somewhere, because stillness is going to be the biggest blessing you can give yourself to get yourself to that balance and for you to understand and start partaking in the integration of your new inner strength. Now we're just going to ask Spirit for some affirmations, something to just remind you that you are amazing, that you are a fantastic person who's doing something amazing by doing this healing journey, by giving yourself every opportunity to succeed and change your inner dialogue. That's hard to, change your, the way you think about yourself, to change the way you view yourself, and you're doing it. So let's just get some affirmations from Spirit. I don't need someone else. I don't need someone else strong enough. I really kind of wish I had an I there. Yeah, I don't need someone else strong enough. So that's 100% like what these two things we're talking about with the counseling and the inner strength. Like, you don't need someone else. You are strong enough. And you just need to start trusting yourself and believing that. My life is a gift and I appreciate everything I have. So this affirmation can be a hard one to swallow, because when you think of everything, you think of the good and the bad. And it's really easy to be happy for the good things. It's not so easy to be happy for the negative things. But here's the thing. Be thankful not for what happened to you in the negative way, but be thankful for the fact that you survived and that you now know how to help yourself and others who go through similar situations. So yeah, the fact that I was abused and that, I had to suffer many years because of it, I'm not thankful for the abuse, but I'm thankful for me, who was smart enough and strong enough to use her own abilities and smarts to, get past it and heal past all that. So find that life is a gift and find a way to be appreciative of everything that you have gone through. Again, not the negative thing that happened to you, but who you became because of said negative thing. I'm in charge of my life. And this is huge because you already know this. You're already doing it. You're already proving it to yourself. Every day that you give yourself the permission to do something different, to pivot, to, keep healing, to cry, to release, to have those breakdowns, you're in charge of your life. You're doing it. You're changing your life around, and you're being you 100%. I choose to speak up when I've had enough. Again, back to that balance. Back to that, that overwhelming counseling. You just need to listen to your own voice now. You need to start trusting your own voice. You need to trust that your intuition and that your voice are enough. You need to not worry so much about what other people think you should be like right now, or what other people think your version of your progress should be. You're doing it. You're enough. So choose to speak up, and when you've had enough, say enough. And find the stillness. Allow yourself to go into meditation. Allow yourself to balance, but also don't be afraid to tell people what it is that you actually need. Speak up. If you have any questions or concerns about how to, be still, or how to meditate without a guided meditation, or you just want, to tell your story, hit me up in the comments below. We have a community, and the community is here to help each other. If you have any questions and you want a private reading about, to get more information about your own personal journey, there is a link in the description below for private readings. I do have some open dates right now. I really want to thank you so much for being part of my collective today. And I just want to remind you that you are not walking this path alone. You are part of this collective, and this collective will support you. I love you so much. I'm wishing you the best with your journey, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye.